Hey there everybody, and welcome back to the Blossom Crochet channel. I wanted to do a video about granny squares. Now, granny squares are probably some of the most popular tutorials that are currently on my channel, and I get a lot of questions about granny squares from people who are just starting out, or it's their first granny square project but they've been crocheting for a while. So I just wanted to give a couple of little tips for perfect granny squares if you're just attempting it for the first time. So I'm going to do generic ones and then ones about changing colour. The one comment I get the most on my channel whenever I share photos on Instagram and things like that is, how do you get your granny squares to be so perfect? So you can see this is one that I'm working on at the moment. They are quite tightly done. There's not, like, obviously there are holes, but they're not as gappy as some particular patterns. The holes in these stay quite small. And that is because I don't chain anything in between my clusters. You'll find that some patterns you will chain one, some even do a chain two, which is absolutely fine, but that will obviously give you bigger holes as you work up. Whereas if you don't chain anything between the clusters on your sides, your holes will stay quite small like these. And like I say, I always get asked, how do you keep it so neat? And it's a controversial one, I have to say, because you don't have to do this. Some people will be able to crochet granny squares and go round and around and around and around and around continuously, and they will stay nice and square. And to be fair, mine does that as well. My tension is fine to the point where I can just continually go around and it will stay perfectly square. However, there are so many posts that I see on Instagram, in Facebook groups and so on, asking why their granny squares are twisting. So, like I say, you don't have to do this. You might not need to do this, but there are so many people that do struggle with twisting. And so as they work their granny square bigger and bigger and bigger, the centre looks slightly off and it looks like it's twisted, and so then it's not perfectly square. And obviously if you're wanting a perfectly square product, at the end of it, that is going to be really frustrating. And the only way to counteract that, if it is doing it, is by turning each round. So in the tutorial, which of course I will leave a link for in the description, for a normal large granny square blanket, if twisting and distorting is an issue for you, you're going to need to turn at the end of every single round. So you will do one round and you'll stop, and then you'll turn your work around and you'll work in the opposite direction, and then you'll turn again at the end of that round and work back, and then turn, and that will keep it absolutely perfectly square. Like you can see, this is the center here, and as we work out, by turning each round, it will stay completely and utterly perfect. But like I say, it always seems to cause a little bit of controversy whenever I say about the requirement to turn each round. Not everybody has to do it, so if yours are fine without it, wonderful, keep going as you are, that's great. But if you need to, that is the way to fix it. Some people say, once I've started it and it's twisted, is it too late to rescue it? And I would say that depends on what point you've got to. If you've only done maybe 5 or 6 rounds, then yeah, you can probably start turning, and by the end of it you won't really notice it. However, if you've done more than that, I would say you'd probably need to start again, or at least pull it back to quite close and then start the turn. So yeah, that's that one. I would also say as well, depending on what you're making, granny squares, when done with this pattern without any chains in between the clusters on the straight edges, it can be quite stiff. So if you're using my particular tutorial for your granny squares, then especially if you're making a blanket, you're going to want a little bit of softness and drape, and so you're going to want to go up probably a full hook size. Obviously if you want your holes to be even smaller, then you can just use whatever hook size your selected yarn recommends, but if you want a bit of drape, you're going to want to go up. The other thing that I wanted to say is obviously this one is just a solid colour. However, if you're doing a granny square that changes colours, whether it's every round, every 2 rounds, whatever, however often you're going to change colour, so that you don't end up with a seam running through your work, you're going to want to attach your new colour every single time into a corner space. So you're always going to want to finish a round, tie off, and then attach your new colour in a corner. So you can see I've actually weaved in my hands. I didn't realise I'd done that for a change. But you can see I've been changing colour here every other round, and you can't see where the joins are. And that is because it has been being done in the corner each time. So that is how you will get a nice seamless finish, by making sure you join in the corner. So like I say, I will leave a link in the description box for my granny square tutorial. But yeah, it was just one more little thing that I would say is, if you are literally just starting out with crochet, don't do a granny square as your first project, because they are very time consuming, especially if you're doing small ones, because then you've got to learn to join them together, and that can sometimes be a bit disappointing, because if you've made all these lovely granny squares and then, you know, when it comes to joining them together, you've not quite got the technique down, people can get quite frustrated thinking, I've done all those lovely granny squares and I've spoilt it because my joins aren't as neat as I would want them to be. So I always say to people, if you're just starting out, it's probably best to avoid granny squares just at the very beginning and just do quick and satisfying projects that are repetitive. So something like a 1 row repeat scarf pattern, and then you're just getting the stitches down, especially if you can find a 1 row repeat pattern that uses a few different stitches, like different size stitches, or maybe even throws in a little puff stitch here and there. But I just think granny squares are probably one of the harder things to start with if it's your very first time picking up a hook, and I speak from experience when it comes to that, because granny squares were the very first thing I tried to make. And oh my word, when I look back now on my first granny square project, it is so far from perfect, which is fine. We all have to start somewhere. But when I think back now, I just say to myself, why on earth did you pick that to start with? And I know exactly why I picked it. It's because I was learning from my nana, and her famous thing was granny square blankets. And so obviously it made sense that would be what I learnt first. However, if I was to learn again now, I definitely wouldn't start with a granny square. So anyway, I do hope that this really quick video has been useful if you're thinking of starting your first granny square project. So turn each round if your work distorts, and always change colour in a corner. I will leave a tutorial for the colour changing in a granny square, so it's a granny square specific tutorial. I will leave both of those videos in the description, and this is getting turned into something quite nice soon in a tutorial, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel so that you can see what this lovely granny square ends up being. But that is it for this one, and I will see you again really soon. Bye for now.